But in the back of the line is a thief on the cross. He walks up and he sees all these people whose names were not written in the book of life, and they're cast in the lake of fire. He sees as an angel grab someone who says, Lord, Lord, didn't I prophesy in your name? Didn't I do wonderful works? Didn't I cast out demons in your name? And he sees Yeshua look at him and say, I don't know you. You, worker of anomia, A without, nomos, Torah. You who had your whole religion and you didn't obey me, you didn't obey the commandments of God, you did your own thing, I don't know you. You have to get this firmly in mind. Those who are in Messiah, those who have died in Messiah, whether they have not taken the mark of the beast and they're beheaded, or they were killed in Uganda, preaching the gospel, 100 years ago from now. Whatever the situation, those who are in Messiah, their dead, corrupted body will be raised into a incorruptible body. The mortal, still living, will put on immortality. At the last trump, the trumpet will sound, and the dead in Christ shall rise, and those which are alive and remain shall be caught up, harpazo, raptura, together with them to meet the Lord in the air, and ever shall ever be with the Lord. Not forever in the air, because we're gathered together on the sea of fire and glass, where the works that we have done for him are the gold, silver, and precious stones that Paul speaks of, that are purified in the fire, the sea of fire and glass, and the wood, hay, and the stubble, the things that we've done for naught. Everything that we've gained in this life are burned up. It's trash. And then we wait to hear if our name is called into what can only be called the marriage supper of the Lamb, the most intimate, personal friends, the ones Yeshua wants to dine with at the marriage supper of the Lamb. Everyone else waits outside for 7 days on the sea of fire and glass. Thinking, I woulda, I shoulda, I coulda. After the 7-day marriage supper of the Lamb, Yeshua then returns to the earth with his armies from heaven. Everyone on the sea of fire and glass is empty. The angels come down, and that is when the angel says, get ready to eat the flesh of kings and captains and great men. Tell the birds to get ready to eat. In the next verse, the birds are eating. Yeshua then lives and reigns on earth for 1,000 years. The saints live and reign as priests and kings, what we've been training for 1,000 years. And then at the 1,000 years, Satan is released from his prison. He goes out to deceive the nations of the world. And then fire comes down from heaven and incinerates the universe. The heavens and the earth are gone, and everyone who's ever lived stands before the throne. And everyone is judged out of the books. There are 2 books. One is the scroll, 2 categories at least. The scroll of works, and everyone is judged according to their works. How many eons this takes for everyone to be judged, we don't know. But in the back of the line is a thief on the cross. He walks up and he sees all these people whose names were not written in the book of life, and they're cast in the lake of fire. He sees as an angel grab someone who says, Lord, Lord, didn't I prophesy in your name? Didn't I do wonderful works? Didn't I cast out demons in your name? And he sees Yeshua look at him and say, I don't know you. You, worker of anomia, A without, nomos, Torah. You who had your whole religion and you didn't obey me, you didn't obey the commandments of God, you did your own thing, I don't know you. Oh, you think you did wonderful works in my name, I don't know you. Depart. And an angel grabs him and throws him in a lake of fire. This thief has done nothing. He has done nothing. All he said was on the cross, Lord, remember me when you enter into your kingdom. He wasn't there for the millennial reign. He is now seeing those who said they belong to the Lord. He's seen them cast in the lake of fire. And then he walks up, and the scroll of his works is read. You murdered this person. You have broken the commandments of God. You did this, you did that. And the man is staying there knowing it's all over. And then Yeshua said, bring me the other scroll. And they bring him the scroll of life. Yeshua rolls it out, turns around, says, look at this. Here's your name. Here's your name. He then gets to inherit the new heaven and the new earth. He is going to be with Yeshua in paradise. That is when paradise is restored. That's when that thief, that robber will get up, and his name is written in the book of life. Why? Because he deserved it? No. This is the wonderful grace of Yeshua, greater than all our sin. How shall my tongue describe it? Where shall his praise begin? Washing away my burden, setting my spirit free. For the wonderful grace of Yeshua has rescued me. Now we go on down to the believers in Smyrna. Some of you will be cast in prison to try you, and you'll have tribulation 10 days, but be faithful until death. It's just a short time. 10 days is like, okay, it doesn't literally mean 10 days. It's like, okay, your tribulation, being in prison, is just going to be for a short time. Compared with eternity, it's like 10 days. It's going to be long, feel long while you're doing it, but be faithful to death, and I will give you a crown of everlasting life. He that overcomes with these things will not be harmed of the second death. When is the second death? Clear to the end. The second death, those cast into the lake of fire, it's not going to come upon them. You can be thankful for that. Here it is to the believers in Thyatira. He that overcomes these things, I'm not going to go into what you have to overcome, but it's very specific what you're to overcome. It's not a general category of overcomers, but he that overcomes these things will be given authority over the nations. He shall rule over them with a rod of iron and dash them to pieces as defiled vessels of pottery. Just as I received the morning star from my Father, I will give this reward to those who keep my works until the end. This is Psalm 2. This is what all of Israel was expecting and hoping for. Not the suffering servant, not the lamb before his shears was dumb, not the one who would have his heel bruised, but would bruise the head of the serpent. No, they're looking for the Messiah who will rule the nations with a rod of iron. He says, you will rule with me. Just as I've received this promise of my Father, I'm giving this promise to you. There is no promise about going to heaven and sitting on a cloud. That, again, is Christianity nonsense. That's a word from hell. completely to disregard everything that Yeshua says. I've had it. I have had it. I am going to war. I'm going to war over this travesty. And if you want to go to war with me, stay tuned. Be with me, because we're not letting up. We haven't even begun to touch this. Then, to Sardis, they that overcomes these things shall be clothed in white raiment. I will not blot out their name from the book of life, but I will call out their names before my Father and his holy angels. These are the ones that John sees when they are called by name into the marriage supper of the Lamb. John falls down like a dead man at the feet of the angel. He cannot believe the incredible as he sees these people walk by with white garments, which are the righteous acts of the saints, the righteousnesses of the saints. They are clothed with garments that show their whole life story. When John sees this, he craters. He can't believe it. He falls down at the feet of the angel, and the angel says, get up. You were told to write this stuff down. Now write it down. This is the testimony of Yeshua. This is the spirit of this whole prophecy. This is so that the believers will know that it's worth anything and everything, whatever they have to go through, to be clothed in white raiment and to hear their names called into the Mishkan in heaven, into the heavenly tabernacle, to tabernacle with Yeshua at the marriage supper of the Lamb. It's worth everything. Ladies and gentlemen, this is reality. This pie in the sky heaven, going to heaven and seeing, your pet dog and your grandmother, and having a reunion with all your families. Oh, yeah, like that's going to be a real bargain. You can hardly stand one day a year getting together with all your relatives, and now you're going to spend eternity with them? Yeah, that's supposed to be heaven? All these ridiculous things. Oh, yeah, we're going to go to the big poker table in the sky. We're going to go to that big football stadium in the sky. All these things. It's like whatever is important to you in this life, you get to go to that big whatever, that big bordello in the sky. It's time to wake up and quit following a false prophet like Muhammad and Joseph Smith and all these other so-called religious leaders when Yeshua is the one that we follow. But we don't know anything about what he says because we don't read his words. We just take these other idiots' word for it. So, here we go. I'll read another one. He that overcomes these things will be allowed to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and have sat down with my Father in his throne. But Yeshua's throne is going to be on the earth. Isaiah tells us that the Messiah will sit in the tabernacle of David on his throne. How is this going to happen? Because you all thought that the tabernacle of David and the Ark of the Covenant, which is the representation of the throne of God upon the earth, which is the Messiah's millennial throne, you thought that just disappeared. Or you read a verse out of the book of Revelation, which happens after the last trumpet, in which the saints are gathered together on the sea of fire and glass, and the Ark of the Covenant is seen in the tabernacle in heaven, which is where Yeshua is going to sit for the marriage supper of the Lamb. And then he's going to bring that throne back with him and rule from that throne upon the earth. Ladies and gentlemen, the tabernacle of David and the Ark of the Covenant were both hidden by Jeremiah. We're going to get into that in some detail because Yeshua reveals this to Paul. But yet, because people are reading English and not even bothering to read the Greek, and what the Greek translation behind it, which is the Hebrew, which is Paul's native language, they're neglecting to read the words of the prophet. So, just as he sat down with the Father on his throne, we will be invited to rule with Yeshua as priests and kings upon the earth. We will see all these things come to pass from here to eternity. Now, to get into the mystery of iniquity, the behind-the-scenes working of Satan as the god of this age, to see what he is doing now as the accuser of the brethren before the throne of God, as we see in Revelation 12. And as we see in the 2nd chapter of Job, that Satan goes around about the earth and then comes before the throne of God to accuse Job. This is what he does. He is the accuser, the maleficent accuser of the brethren, whereas Yeshua is the advocate, the righteous advocate before the throne. And we can take our petitions before him, our petitions for righteous judgment, just as the early believers did in the book of Acts. They took their case before the throne of heaven when Peter was in prison, about to be executed, and Peter was delivered, and Herod, in a short amount of times, was eaten by worms. We can bring these things before the throne in heaven. That's what we do as priest and king.